Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Become a Guest to Apply. All right, so today I have Margo Crawford on the line, and she's founder and chair of Business Sherpa Group. Margo, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
All right, Margo, so excited to have you on the show today and to get more into your background and also the great work being done over at Business Sherpa Group. But before we get into that, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Margo, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Margo, what mission matters to you?
Well, my mission, Adam, in starting this company at Business Sherpa Group was very, very clear. It's around how to help small and mid-sized businesses not just, survive, but thrive and optimize who they are or who they can be by supporting them and getting in, being their guide, and doing some of the work for them to help sort of lighten their load.
Awesome. Love bringing mission-based entrepreneurs and executives and experts on the line to share, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn and gain from their journey so that we get to grow together. So, again, great having you on. I guess just to get us kicked off, Margo, where did this begin for you, the whole idea of, entrepreneurship and wanting to be an entrepreneur, or, how did all that happen for you?
Well, it's an interesting story. A little bit by accident. I would say I've always had a deep curiosity about business. My corporate career started in human resources in a lot of different enterprises and so on. But, I was always very curious about how does the actual business machine work. I didn't go back to school while I was working. I did my MBA just to kind of get some additional education around that. And I had an opportunity early 2000 with two engineers to form a technology business, so found a technology business. And I just jumped. I jumped from the most secure job in the world, and it was a no-brainer. I quit it. Like someone approached me on a Saturday, I quit it on a Monday, and I'm in. And so I don't know what was going on there other than I felt like I was on this path of wanting to sort of really dive into business, and the opportunity to form something, establish it, build it, and grow it. It was just sort of scratching a really big itch, and I just didn't see in my mind, I didn't see any risk to that at all. And, partly because I thought I'm pursuing something I'm pretty passionate about. And, and so I continued with that company. It was back in 2000 as a telecommunications technology startup, and operated, and I was one of the founders, and I stayed with it right through 8 years, and we sold it in 2008. So that period in time in technology was really tough. From 2000 to 2008, we were there started just before the bust, and went through recessions and all sorts of things. But really that experience of, being a small company, having to punch above our weight, be really smart about resourcing, and was really what led me to form Business Sherpa Group. So 2008, we sold the company, and I decided, I don't fit in a big corporate setting. I love the idea of smaller businesses. I want to repeat what I'm doing, and how can I repeat it at scale and do it with a lot of different types of companies. So that's sort of where it came from, and the idea that there's this really important employer, businesses that need to perform well. We had to do it in the technology company, and I just loved the experience, and I just wanted to dive fully back into that, and that's what led me to Business Sherpa Group. So, and I don't know if you want me to go into what Business Sherpa.
I already have. Please, my synapses, they're firing like you won't believe right now. I'm over here. I'm going crazy. It's so interesting to me because I remember when I took the entrepreneur route and I left a very stable job and, a career I've been in for almost 14 years. And I was in finance, and I had, a good solid book of business, and I wasn't exactly doing terrible, and I was comfortable. And I know that when I kind of decided to go that entrepreneur route, Like people thought, so I want to stay maybe in the earlier part of the journey a little longer, if you don't mind. I just
sure.
know that people, the people around me didn't always understand that, or understand, as you described, that itch or whatever that thing is that makes you want to go out and do it. I'm just curious, like how was that? Like how did you manage with that initial? I know everybody around you didn't just say, "Oh, this is an amazing idea, like go for it." Like, "Oh, we're so supportive." Obviously, they support you as a person, but you know what I mean. People just want to, help you and support you around the best they know how. And I feel like it's a shocker a lot of times for the people around you when you decide to leave that stable corporate America. So, what was your experience like with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone, I mean, pretty much thought it was crazy. I mean, I was going to a company that didn't have a name. They said, "Well, where's the offices?" "Well, we don't have offices." "Well, what do you make?" "Well, we're figuring it out." And "Do you have any money?" "No, we don't have money yet." And, but I just had so much conviction and certainty around what I wanted to do. I think people, at the end of the day, just believed in, Margo will do something with it. Like that's who she is. I'm not a flighty, flaky person. I stuck through lots of jobs and performed really well and made big contributions. And, so I don't think that they were concerned that I was being just flighty, but not something that they would do. That's for sure.
Oh, no. I get it.
Yeah. It was just, but at the end of the day, I really felt that, and I think this is really key with entrepreneurs, and you would know this, is that, there's an incredible amount of store of resourcefulness that you believe you can tap into, right? That, the one thing I know is I can work hard and I will keep at it and I will persist and push and push and push to make something happen. And, I knew I could count on that. And that was a big, big part of just being. Now, I'll also say I had a very, very supportive spouse, who initially was working, but then wasn't. So I did become the single breadwinner. So there was full risk on the family, but, it was just, I think, the same belief and that I make things happen. And, and it was demonstrated that I make things happen. So I had to really tap into that, but I really didn't have a moment. I didn't think about it for a moment. I really didn't. It sounds crazy, but I just thought I have to do this.
Wow. It's amazing. And so now, I mean, just for context, because I know people will listen to this far into the future. So we're recording this in December of 2022, going into 2023. We're coming off a pandemic, a lot of different things happening. Some businesses did well, some are in transition, some people are pivoting, whether it's corporate America, entrepreneurship. Let's just say that there's a lot of, even the people that are settled are a little unsettled, let's just say, as a maybe collective. Like for those that are kind of just considering, obviously now with you having the benefit of hindsight, right, and having a career and being able to look back and reflect, like what kind of things would you tell maybe some of those that are considering going into this next stage of whatever this is going to be, right? And I don't mean like the economy, I just mean this next stage where we're all kind of figuring certain things out. Like what kind of things would you be telling them to think about?
Yeah, I think for me, the big things are, getting very pragmatic and real about if you're thinking about a business or your career, just thinking about, what is practical and what is real. When I think about business, I felt this, on the first company I formed, but definitely Business Sherpa Group, as we navigated a long journey. That was formed in 2008 and it's thriving now. Lots of ups and downs. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to, as opposed to sort of ignoring things, just really diving into, okay, there might be a risk here, there might be a risk there. Explore it more deeply, understand it, and figure out what risks you can control and manage. And really at the end of the day, if you've got something that is solid, like I feel like our business is extremely solid. It's already navigated. I formed it in 2008 during a recession. We're potentially going into recession. And I feel that, the economics of the business, the value proposition of the business is strong. It has been proven out. And if it's new for you, surround yourself with people who, there lots of people will be your cheerleaders. That's fine. But make sure you really seek out those voices that will challenge and poke holes. And those are the people that you should really spend some time with to really make sure and let them know. I remember I had a few that I told them, I'm meeting you because I really know that you will poke holes in what I'm thinking. You're going to test and challenge, and I don't just need a supporter. I want to know what my blind spots are, and I need to find people who can show those to me. And I really think that's important because certainly you'll have a lot of supporters and navigating through, and we're going into a time of real uncertainty. But if you focus on fundamentals, fundamentally, is this a business or is it a career choice that I feel, is solid, is something I can really make something of? If it's a big risky decision, ask people who will, test your assumptions and really, really dig into those for you so that you are, managing the risk of your own blinders. And I think that would be something that I would really support. And I did it a lot. I constantly tested my thinking, and I still do it to this day.
So I want to jump around a bit here, and I do want to spend some time on Business Sherpa Group. So first off, you mentioned a little bit, but let's go further. So first off, maybe tell us a little bit more about the company and exactly what you do.
Yeah. So the company is a group. It's a team of professionals, mainly focused what I would call on the corporate operations function. So HR, recruitment, finance, and some strategy and executive sort of strategic activities. And what we do is we go into small and mid-sized businesses, and generally those are businesses under 100 employees, all sorts of revenue sizes, and we become their fractional, so part-time team, but embedded in the business. So where they don't have an HR function at all, and usually they don't, we're going in with a resource that becomes their professional who's just working on a part-time basis. Same thing with finance, maybe a CFO and bookkeeping and so on. So really those back office activities that happen in the business, particularly in small and mid-sized businesses where often the owner or other senior leaders are doing those activities, we're going and establishing that for them and running it and operating it and quarterbacking it and making it happen. So that's really what we do, and we're agnostic to sector, so we touch pretty much every sector imaginable, profit, not-for-profit, technology, services, healthcare, etc. The common denominator is the businesses are in that category of typically under 100 employees, where these functions aren't really established well, but need to work well inside those businesses. And yeah, we're right across, all over the place. We operate very virtually, so we can be in northern Canada up in Nunavut with maybe, a resource who's based in Calgary, as an example, do stuff into the United States and able to support anyone from anywhere, basically, and in those functions. So that's essentially what Business Sherpa Group does.
What do you find are the types of maybe companies that typically get the most value out of working with your team, and whether it's industry, like is it size of company, like market cap, or like just in general, like who do you find are types of companies get the most value?
Yeah. So I would say the companies that get most value are, it's not so much market cap or industries, although some industries by nature are not, like oil and gas are very large enterprises. You don't get small businesses there, for example. But it really is their employee size. It's the factor that really matters. When you think about stats, in Canada for sure, the percentage of employers who are under 100 employees is about 99% in private. In the U.S., that's even higher. And when you go down to about 50 employees, it's about 95%. So you have these employers who are small by nature, and their revenues can be all over the place. You can have not-for-profit, obviously, but you can have a technology company that's in 70, 80, 100 million. With that size, but they are operating with very lean teams. And what typically happens, I'd say our average size is around 35, 40 employees. Is the type of company that works well, although we've worked with much bigger and smaller. And usually they have to be beyond at least 10 employees. Not because we won't work with under 10 employees. We certainly will. But at 10 employees, that just sort of infers a size and complexity and so on, where things start getting confusing. And if you think about the HR activities, that's where the issues start showing up. People want clarity, or there's issues around, what's my pathway? And they're looking for more established, an established experience. Even though they like the small, they want to be able to know, do I have benefits? Do I have, is someone looking at, compensation? What are we doing around culture, et cetera? So it's sort of that sweet spot, I'll say, is between 10 and 50 employees would be kind of that. And honestly, Adam, I'd like to say there's an industry. I once tried to sort of count the mix of industries, and I stopped when I hit like 180. I thought, okay, it's all. I mean, we've worked with everything from funeral homes to biotech companies to chocolate manufacturers to
so agnostic. I got it.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, great. Well, Margo, I just have to say it has been great having you on the show today and learning more about your background as an entrepreneur and really what it took you to succeed, and obviously all the great work that that is taking place over at Business Sherpa Group. So that being said, if somebody wants to follow up and learn more, what's the best way for them to connect with your team?
Well, the best way probably is just going right to the website. I mean, it really articulates what we do. So www.businesssherpagroup.com, 3 S's in the middle. And you can see that. And there's all sorts of spots to connect with our team and get information and explore more. And there's a lot of really good resources on there, too. They're free that people can just access, and videos and all sorts of things. So that's what I would recommend.
Ah, wonderful. And we'll put we'll put the links and all that good stuff in the show notes so that our audience can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters or engaging with the Mission Matters episode, we're all about bringing on business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives. We want to hear their story. We want to hear that journey. We want to see what we can all take away from that so we learn and grow together. If that's the type of content that sounds interesting or fun or engaging to you, hit that subscribe button, because we have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Margo, thanks again for coming on the show so much. It's really been a pleasure. I enjoyed our time.
Oh, thanks, Adam. I really appreciate it. Take care.